What if everything you believed about success, discipline, and online wealth was built on a lie? This is the story of Ethan Cole, a man who sold dreams, bottled charisma, and weaponized social media to craft a digital empire. To his followers, he was a beacon of motivation. To his victims, he was the mastermind behind one of the most audacious scams in internet history. In the dead of winter, beneath a cracked overpass on the outskirts of Phoenix, Arizona, a 24-year-old man sat inside a dilapidated Honda Civic, wrapped in 3 layers of worn-out clothes and a blanket that smelled of gasoline. His name was Ethan Cole. At that moment, he wasn't a guru nor a scammer. He was a ghost in the system. A dropout with a mountain of student loans, a fractured family back east that no longer returned his calls, and a stomach that hadn't known a full meal in days. Ethan's nights were haunted by the cold, but his days were warmed by a different kind of fire: obsession. With the last bit of mobile data he could afford, he scrolled endlessly through YouTube videos of luxury lifestyles, motivational speeches, and online entrepreneurs who seemed to have cracked the code of life. The Lamborghinis, the penthouses, the charisma, it hypnotized him. But what struck him the most was not their wealth. It was their presentation, the way they moved, the certainty in their voice. They weren't selling strategies. They were selling belief. It was in that freezing car that Ethan made a vow. If the world ran on perception, he would become its master. Not through truth, but through illusion. He didn't need a product. He didn't need talent. All he needed was a story. His transformation began with a lie, a small one, almost innocent, a tweet that read, "Quit my 9 to 5, built a 6-figure business, no college degree, just hunger." It got 3 likes, then 5, then 50. He added a photo he found online, a generic image of a man working on a laptop with a skyline in the background. People believed. Some asked questions. Ethan answered with vague motivation and stock phrases he'd memorized from other influencers. Discipline over motivation. Fail fast, fail forward. Build, break, build again. Within a month, he had 100 followers. By month 3, over 1,000. He borrowed a suit from a friend, booked a cheap 1-hour rental at a co-working space, and filmed himself in front of a whiteboard talking about high-income skills. The videos were basic, but he spoke with conviction. He used lighting tricks, paid $50 for fake engagement, and learned to game the algorithm. He began to craft his online persona, a self-made mogul who had once been homeless. It wasn't entirely false. He had slept in his car. But every detail was exaggerated, manicured, and positioned for maximum emotional pull. He rented a Mercedes for a weekend and filmed 5 outfit changes in different locations to stretch the footage across multiple weeks. He hired Fiverr freelancers to create fake testimonials and photoshopped DMs of people thanking him for changing their lives. And it worked. People weren't just watching. They were listening. They started tagging their friends. "You need to follow this guy. He's real." Ethan felt the power shift. For the first time in his life, he mattered. The praise was addictive. The money started to trickle in, first from affiliate marketing links, then from $99 ebooks he wrote using AI, and later from one-on-one coaching sessions that were little more than pep talks. He crafted the illusion with meticulous precision. Every tweet was pre-scheduled. Every post was optimized for dopamine. He never broke character. Online, he was Ethan Cole, millionaire mentor. Offline, he was still eating gas station sandwiches, living off borrowed time and rented dreams. But he didn't care. Because the lie was working, and the lie was growing, and Ethan was just getting started. Ethan Cole didn't just want attention, he craved control. With his online presence growing, he realized that admiration alone wasn't enough. He needed loyalty. Not followers, but believers. People who would defend him, promote him, and, most importantly, pay him. That's when he created the Alpha Code Academy. The name came to him during a late-night binge of Jordan Belfort clips and 90s self-help audiobooks. Alpha evoked dominance. Code suggested exclusivity. And Academy? That made it sound credible. The course offered 6 modules, each promising the secret blueprint to financial independence. In reality, the content was a shallow remix of existing material. Dropshipping guides lifted from Reddit, mindset mantras plagiarized from Tony Robbins, and success graphs pulled directly from Google Images. But no one questioned it, because Ethan understood the psychology of desperation. He filmed a new promo in a rented skyscraper suite overlooking downtown Los Angeles. The lighting was flawless, his suit tailored. He spoke into the camera with icy certainty. "You're broke because you've been lied to. School lied. Society lied. Your parents lied. But I'll tell you the truth. And it starts now." The video went viral, boosted by paid ads and a swarm of bots he bought through a Telegram group. In the comment section, the responses poured in. "I just signed up. Can't wait to change my life. This guy is the real deal. I wish I found this sooner." The illusion had become a machine, and Ethan was its engine. He hired virtual assistants overseas to act as his success coaches, feeding scripted encouragement to new students. He launched a private Discord group filled with fake testimonials and staged screenshots of PayPal deposits. Every day, new members were welcomed with hype, emojis, and manufactured excitement. He even faked a Forbes feature, paid a shady PR agency to create a sponsored post that looked like a real article. Meet the millennial millionaire disrupting the coaching industry. He shared it everywhere. It worked like gasoline on fire. His follower count doubled in 2 weeks. Money poured in, $119 for lifetime access to the course, $499 for the elite mentorship, and $1,999 for the inner circle. Ethan's PayPal lit up like a slot machine. But while the front end of his life looked golden, the back end was pure rot. He'd developed a dependence on Adderall to keep up with the non-stop grind. His nights were sleepless, consumed by anxiety. He owed money to multiple contractors and was using new sales to pay old debts, a financial Ponzi scheme built on digital illusions. His laptop was filled with burner accounts, fake user testimonials, and spreadsheets that tracked which lies had been told to whom. But the scariest part? He no longer saw it as deception. He saw it as strategy. His moral compass had eroded, drowned under metrics, praise, and dopamine. Every person who signed up was, in his mind, making a choice. If they failed, that was on them. He had given them the tools, or at least the illusion of them. At a luxury networking event in Miami, someone asked him, "Do you actually believe in what you teach?" Ethan smiled, lifted his glass of whiskey and answered, "Belief is the business." His empire was growing, but so was the noise. A few disgruntled students began asking questions publicly. One called the course a scam. Another posted screenshots of recycled material. Ethan's team, made up of anonymous freelancers, quickly buried the complaints with floods of fake praise. But the cracks were beginning to show. Ethan didn't care. He was too deep, too far gone. He'd built not just a brand, but a cult that worshipped confidence, not truth. And their leader, Ethan Cole, was more committed than ever to the role he had created. What do you think of the story so far? Do you believe Ethan is a genius of persuasion or just a modern-day criminal? Leave your opinion in the comments. Let's continue. The first real crack came quietly. A Reddit thread titled, "My Experience with Alpha Code Academy. It's a Scam," appeared in an obscure personal finance forum. At first it went unnoticed, buried under crypto tips and budget spreadsheets, but within hours it was upvoted to the front page. The post was written by Marcus Tran, a 26-year-old IT technician from Seattle who had spent his savings, over $2,000, on Ethan's elite mentorship program. His story was devastating. He described how the promised one-on-one coaching turned out to be automated responses, how the Discord group was filled with suspiciously similar success stories, how Ethan's voice notes, touted as exclusive, inner circle guidance, were clearly spliced together from his YouTube videos. Marcus posted screenshots, audio comparisons, and a Google reverse image search that proved Ethan's testimonials came from stock photo sites. Within hours, hundreds of comments followed, each sharing a variation of the same experience. Empty promises, vague advice, recycled content. Ethan saw it the next morning while checking his mentions. He froze. For the first time since his rise, he felt exposed. Not just criticized, but seen. The armor of confidence he wore daily began to feel heavy. But Ethan was not a man to surrender. Not yet. He activated his crisis protocol. His first move: deny. He tweeted, "Success triggers hate. If you're not being attacked, you're not making waves. Stay focused." His core followers rallied behind him, flooding the thread with counter-comments. Fake news. Jealous losers. NPCs mad at someone winning. Then came the legal intimidation. Ethan's team, really just a hired freelancer with a law school dropout's vocabulary, crafted cease and desist emails and sent them to Marcus and a few other vocal critics. The language was threatening enough to silence some, but not all. Forums began tracking Ethan's legal threats, questioning their validity. Then came the expose videos. A mid-sized YouTube channel called Internet Integrity uploaded a deep dive titled Ethan Cole, The Dark Truth Behind Alpha Code Academy. The video featured interviews with ex-clients, digital forensics of Ethan's fake engagement, and a scathing narration that called him the next Ty Lopez. If Ty never had a real business. It exploded. Over 500,000 views in a week. More creators jumped in. TikToks, podcasts, Twitter threads. The internet's wrath, once Ethan's fuel, had turned on him. Behind the scenes, Ethan was unraveling. The money was still coming in, but the refund requests were escalating. His Stripe account flagged unusual activity. PayPal froze his funds. Facebook banned his ads. His once loyal freelancers started ghosting him, fearing legal consequences. Ethan began using pseudonyms to open new accounts, but even those were getting traced and shut down. Paranoia consumed him. He stopped going out, covered his laptop camera with tape, bought a burner phone. He began recording long, delusional voice memos, rants about how he was the victim, how people didn't understand his vision, how he was just doing what everyone else does, but better. But deep down, he knew. The curtain was lifting. The illusion was cracking. The lie was bleeding. His last hope was to pivot. He posted a video titled, "I Was Wrong, The Truth About My Journey." In it, he appeared in a plain hoodie, looking somber. He spoke of growing pains, of being too ambitious, of losing sight of the mission. He didn't admit to lying, but hinted at it. He tried to reframe the criticism as a learning opportunity, a stepping stone toward a new chapter of transparency. The comments were brutal. "This is damage control. You belong in jail." Too little, too late, and in the midst of the chaos, something darker was happening. The FTC had taken notice. A whistleblower had filed an official complaint. And somewhere deep in the bureaucratic system, Ethan Cole's name had been marked for investigation. The cult was crumbling. The audience was waking up. And Ethan, once the architect of perception, was now trapped inside a fortress made of his own lies. Ethan Cole's empire collapsed not with a bang, but with silence. One morning, as the sun clawed its way through the blinds of his Airbnb, in Nevada, he opened his banking app and saw a message that chilled him to the bone. Account frozen. Contact support. All three of his business accounts shut down. PayPal suspended. Stripe permanently banned. Over $200,000 in pending withdrawals. Locked. The fortress of automation and illusion he had built was gone in a keystroke. For 2 days, Ethan didn't speak. He didn't post. He didn't tweet. His Discord went silent. Emails from panicked students flooded in. Refund requests turned into threats. One former client claimed to have hired a private investigator. Another said they'd contacted the FBI. And then, Ethan's worst fear materialized. A knock on the door. It wasn't the police. Not yet. It was a process server, holding a thick envelope. Ethan didn't open it. He didn't need to. He already knew. Someone had filed a civil lawsuit. Fraud, misrepresentation, unauthorized business practices. The FTC was mentioned in the documents. That night, Ethan deleted his Instagram, then his Twitter, then YouTube. Gone, just like that. Thousands of posts, millions of views, all erased in under an hour. His digital self, his true self, vanished. But not everyone let him go quietly. A Reddit thread titled, "Where is Ethan Cole Now?" exploded with speculation. Some believed he had fled the country. Others swore they saw him at an underground marketing event in Tulum. A few claimed he'd changed his name and was already launching a new course under a different brand. And then, 3 weeks later, Ethan re-emerged. A single video appeared on a brand new YouTube channel called The Phoenix Blueprint. The thumbnail showed Ethan in a dimly lit room, eyes sunken, hair unkempt, wearing a gray t-shirt. The title? I Never Lied. You Just Weren't Ready. The video lasted 11 minutes. In it, Ethan didn't apologize. He didn't back down. He framed his disappearance as a strategic reset, calling the backlash emotional noise from weak minds. He spoke of censorship, cancel culture, and how society attacks those who move too fast for the system. They didn't like my tactics, he said, because they worked. And then came the twist. He announced a new project, Genesis Private Network. It would be a members-only digital society for visionaries, with no public presence, no customer support, and no refunds. Membership would be invitation only, paid in crypto, and capped at 100 people. The price? 1 Bitcoin. Within hours, the video was taken down. But not before it was downloaded, re-uploaded, and dissected across every corner of the internet. That same week, an anonymous crypto wallet received several large transactions. Blockchain analysts tracked the flow of funds to a series of mixing services. Classic laundering behavior. Ethan was moving money. Fast. Meanwhile, authorities were closing in. The FTC had filed an official investigation. Multiple state attorney generals were coordinating. Ethan's face was no longer just a profile picture. It was evidence. But here's the part no one expected. People still defended him. In private forums and Telegram groups, his most loyal followers argued that Ethan was a visionary, a provocateur, a martyr of the new digital age. They shared his quotes, copied his business model. Some even tried to replicate his downfall, hoping to rise from their own ashes, because Ethan hadn't just built a scam. He'd built a belief system, and that belief, even in his fall, still had power. Thank you very much for staying until now. Your presence is essential for this channel to grow, and the best is yet to come. Let's now move on to the last chapter. Ethan Cole was no longer a man. He was a myth unraveling in real time. While headlines faded and lawsuits accumulated dust, his name continued to echo in private circles. But no one expected what would happen next. A full, unfiltered confession. Not on a podcast, not on YouTube, but in a 62-page manifesto uploaded anonymously to a dark web archive, signed only with 3 words: "You wanted truth." Within hours, the document leaked. Reddit threads lit up. Discord servers buzzed. Investigative journalists confirmed linguistic markers and metadata. It was real. Ethan Cole had finally spoken, and what he revealed was darker than anyone imagined. The manifesto began not with excuses, but with clarity. "I didn't want money. I wanted control. Money was just a measure of belief. The more you gave me, the more you needed me to be right. That's how faith works." He described in meticulous detail how he had reverse-engineered the psychology of online trust. He outlined how he exploited algorithm patterns, mimicked influencer cadence, and built emotional narratives designed not to teach, but to trigger. People think they buy information. They don't. They buy certainty. They buy someone who tells them, with conviction, that the chaos of life can be conquered. He revealed how every testimonial was scripted, how Discord moderators were actually bots responding to a database of keyword-triggered replies. He even admitted to planting haters in his own comment sections to boost engagement and build a fake sense of community defense. But it was his final admission that chilled readers to the core. He confessed that not only did he know people were going broke following him, he counted on it. Desperation is not a side effect. It's a recruitment tool. The more pain you're in, the more likely you'll pay for a miracle. I gave them one. The manifesto ended with a quote: "Hope is the most profitable lie ever told, and I told it better than anyone." After the leak, the internet descended into chaos. Ethan's defenders scattered. His believers were left stunned, some broken, others enraged. Marcus Tran, the whistleblower, published an emotional response, describing how the confession validated every sleepless night, every dollar lost, every moment he felt like a fool. "He didn't just steal our money. He made us complicit in our own manipulation." Law enforcement redoubled their efforts. Ethan's crypto wallets were subpoenaed. A global manhunt began, though the trail was already cold. Reports surfaced of him being seen in Cyprus, then Morocco, then Thailand. No one could confirm. No country officially confirmed his presence. He'd become a digital ghost. But Ethan had one final act left. 6 months later, a new Instagram profile appeared. No name, no posts. Just a bio. "I told you they'd never understand." The account followed no one, but it was followed by hundreds. Within days, cryptic voice messages began appearing on encrypted channels, distorted, layered with static, but unmistakably Ethan's voice. Philosophical musings, warnings about systems, predictions about the next digital messiah. He wasn't coming back. He was ascending. In the end, Ethan Cole was never caught. No prison sentence, no courtroom drama, only stories. Stories of a man who weaponized human weakness and sold it back to us as truth. A man who made millions not by creating value, but by selling illusion. And perhaps that was the most terrifying part, because for every Ethan that falls, another one rises. New name, new strategy. Same hunger, same charisma, same promise of escape. Ethan Cole's story isn't just about a scam, it's about us. About what we believe, what we want to believe, and what we're willing to ignore when someone sells us hope with the right smile and the perfect filter. Now I want to know what you think. Was Ethan a monster or a mirror? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that subscribe button, and don't miss the next video where we expose another unbelievable true story that could change how you see the world.